So I wanted to make today about you.
Oh, where are we going? I'm playing.
I don't think I've actually had an opportunity to even privately dig as deep as I want to dig with you today, and just uncovering you for who you are. Of course, we have a lot of deep conversations. We have a lot of fun conversations, but today it's kind of like peeling back the layers. So let's start with childhood. What would you say would have been your most difficult experience as a child?
My most difficult experience as a child, which this is like my first time ever expressing this, but you realize how common it is once you get older, that I did not have the same father as my brothers and sisters. I still remember the day so vividly of not going to school that day, my mom only picking me up from my aunt's house, putting me in the car, and helping me make connections. It was almost like she was giving me Blue's Clues to let me know that I did not have the same father as my brothers and sisters. And I mean, to top it all off, I was already the baby. I was the darkest one out of all of them. So to even have that you're dealing with as a child, trying to understand why you're being made fun of and why your complexion is not like the rest of them, and, you know, trying to come into yourself to throw that a wrench on top of it, it was like, oh, this, in my little 11 or 12-year-old self, that was the worst thing that could ever happen to me, because I felt so alone. And the fact that my mom was telling me a secret that she was holding from me, that I'm the youngest of all my siblings and they didn't know. And they're my siblings, so I gotta tell them, because she still didn't tell them. And I guess in a sense it was a relief for her to get that off her chest, because she dropped me back off at my aunt's house and I had to go inside the house like it wasn't nothing and just play around with everybody as if I just didn't get the most heaviest news of my little life. And I remember I held it in all day. I didn't tell anybody. I don't even know, I guess we were out of school that day. It must have been a holiday. And I don't even remember the reason my mom, you know, gave me that. She picked me up out of all the kids and just took me somewhere and then dropped me back off. But I remember I held it in all day. And then finally, when it was nighttime, you know, as kids, you always play jokes on each other as brothers and sisters. It's 4 of us. I remember I was like, guess what, guys? I don't have the same dad as you guys. And it was like, you lying. Because I used to always tease one of my brothers, the one that's the closest to me, right above me. And I used to always tell him that I wasn't really his sister. I was his auntie, and grandma and grandpa were too old to raise me, so they gave me to my sister, which was my mom. So we always used to play jokes on each other like that, and they did not believe me. And then they asked my aunt, and they told her, and her response wasn't no. Her response was, she turned around and said, "Who told you that?" And it was like, Kiyanna said it. And she said to me, "Who told you that, Kiyanna?" And I said, "My mom." And she didn't say nothing else. So we all, you know, now I get serious because we got an adult confirming what I just said to them. And I think she had a talk with my mom when she took us home. And all I remember after that is us all going in the house. She took us back home, us going in the house. And then my mom called us all together to have to talk with us. And at that time, it's still just, you know, like shocking. You kind of don't know what to say. I do remember crying. And the thing was, we already knew my biological side of the family. So it wasn't like, well, who are they? Who are these people? It was like, remember such and such and such and such, and we still
You
keep
knew
in
them, but you didn't know them as...
No, we didn't know them as this was Kiyanna's actual family. So now we're all connecting dots, trying to make sense of it. My mama's still not being as transparent as I would like her to be. And at that time, I had a stepdad, and I thank God for him because he gave us the words that I needed at that night.
What did he say?
And he said, you guys have already grown up as brothers and sisters. There's nothing that's going to change between you guys unless you guys allow it to change. She's still your sister just like she was before you found out this news. And he said he found out that his dad had another sister as he got grown. And I think it's like 5 or 7 of them at the time that were still living in his siblings. And he said that he wished that they would have found out about his sibling when they were young, because that's the time where you could still build. When you get old, it's a little difficult. So that was the reassurance that he gave me that night. I don't know what it did for my brothers and sisters, but I do remember my sister just telling me that she would love me the same. She was the oldest out of all of us. And, we lived on with our lives, and I still never met the man that was my biological father. I just knew his family, or at least I thought I didn't meet him. My recollection didn't know that I had met him already.
When you finally met him was when?
I finally met him, I think maybe a year or I know it was months later. It wasn't like as soon as, hey, you got your new father and he wants to meet you. It wasn't a match made in heaven, because he already had a family as well. So how was it when you finally? We jumping. We jumping.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, no, I don't want to jump over nothing.
I had already known his mom because she was already a babysitter of mine. That my mom would have me go to her house, and I remember her asking me, "How does it feel?" And at that time, my little heart was so concerned about everybody else's feelings that I lied right through my teeth, and I said, "The same." I remember saying that. But in actuality, in my head, I was saying, what the hell you mean how I feel? I am a kid. I don't know how to handle y'all nonsense. But I wanted to protect everybody else's feelings.
You thought that if you were honest,
that I would hurt her because she was my real grandmother. I didn't want to hurt her feelings. I didn't want her to know that I didn't have, I'm sorry, I jumped too fast. I already had a daddy. I already had family. I wasn't lost in life where I did not know who was not my father or longing for a daddy, because I already had one. We had a normal life, and I remember growing up, us always saying and laughing like, dang, everybody got a half sister, or everybody got, mama got 2 baby daddies, 3 baby daddies. And we went to school with a lot of, kids in our neighborhood, or, Challengers, Boys and Girls Club, and they'd be like, yeah, that's my sister on my daddy's side, or that's my sister on my mama's side, that's my brother on this side. And I'm like, we ain't got that. We don't have that in our family. So to find out that we had what we always thought we didn't, how crazy was that? But I remember being so concerned about everybody else's feelings. I never told the truth about how I was feeling and how devastating this was to me. And my godmother, when she found out, she was like an angel to me. I believe that's where God really just started showing up in my life, where it was, let's take all this hurt, and this is how God is going to heal you and make you more wiser beyond your years, to be more understanding, to be forgiving, to be compassionate, to learn how to be more vocal, because now, this is such a long story, I never had to tell it before. Because now I have to go do things by myself with my dad's side of the family, which normally I did everything with my brothers and sisters. I didn't have to speak up for myself. I didn't have to be vocal about anything because I had somebody always with me. So now I'm getting to know cousins that I never even knew that I had. I'm very lost. I'm very lost. So I believe how God used my mother-in-law to really introduce me to Jesus and get to know God for myself was the healing that God was doing in me that I didn't even know that I needed. And just to move...
Your godmother.
My godmother. Did I say that?
Your mother-in-law. I was just like, were you married before?
No, I wasn't married.
All right.
There's a lot of stories going on. As I got to know him, it was a constant reminder of the life that I never wanted for myself.
That's different because, most, like you already said, you had a family. Most children in a situation where they didn't know their biological father would have been longing to know who he was, how he was, longing for his attention and his love. That's not something that you felt.
If I could just be honest, you try to forget your bad moments in life, but I remember asking my mother, why would you tell me now? Like, why you tell me now? Her answer was, because you need to know. And I said, well, what does he feel? She said, he still doesn't want you to know. So in hearing that, it's like, well, why I want to meet a man that doesn't want me to know? Now, I don't know if that's the impression my mom got from him, because she evidently must have given contact with him. I don't know if that's the impression. Those are not the words that he said to me. But I do believe he probably didn't, because we both were happy with our lives. He was married and had a baby on the way. I'm in middle school and almost, fully coming into myself. So it's like, why introduce this trouble into either one of our lives? And I've never really asked my mom now in my adult years, and she probably would still say the same thing because I thought she needed to know, but I do think it was more to it than that. But I'll let her tell her story one day if she ever decides to. But now that I'm older and more mature, I still don't have that relationship with him that you would think would just come together for whatever reason. But I know God did it for a reason. The wisdom that I have now, you can't buy that.
You feel like your relationship with God was sparked
From
during that time?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely, because I was hurting so bad as a kid where only God could come in. I didn't even know why I was so mad. I didn't know why I was so mad. And I never knew I didn't forgive. I didn't know. I didn't have a reason to forgive like that. I didn't need to forgive like that. Wow. Especially somebody that you don't have a relationship with. But at that time we were trying to build something, and I was forced to go to his family events for Christmas, and it was like, it was just a constant reminder. And I'm like, I didn't need these problems.
You didn't ask for this.
I didn't ask for this. This is not what I thought my life should be. And I wouldn't even, and now even growing up and having kids of my own, I think that trauma seeped in, where it's like, you always say, why ask the kids if they want to do this? And why ask the kids if they want to do that? It's probably, or I will say, it's because no one ever asked me how did I feel.
Don't make me cry.
Oh, cry.
No, don't make me cry. You never said that to me.
I never thought about it like that. That's why I'm always asking my kids, do you guys want to do this? If you don't want to do it, we don't have to do it. Because no one ever asked me if I was just pushed in.
Don't make me cry, because I didn't know, because I always go give you back and forth about that.
I was just pushed in so many situations where it's like I had to go with the flow, and it really frustrated me that I could not take charge of how I felt like my life should have been handled.
You feel like you didn't have any control over your situation.
And this is when I talk about forgiveness, neither one of my parents, meaning my mother or my biological father, has ever apologized to me. And to be honest, they might not forgive themselves, or they might felt like they didn't do nothing wrong because they both felt they was in the right. But I think that's something to apologize for, because I didn't ask to be in this situation. I hated the situation, and I don't even know if I'm able to articulate everything that I felt during that time, to say how hurt I was. It's very surprising to me. That's how I know that I've come into a new me, because I used to not even be able to tell this story or even think about it without crying.
Wow. And I remember, I gotta apologize. Nobody apologized to you. I gotta apologize. Just the way that when you communicated everything to me, I saw things kind of slightly different. I grew up with both parents, and what I saw, your biological father. He would invite us over to his house and different things like that. And even up until that point, you didn't refer to him as dad. You referred to him as, I guess, father, or I could call him father, but you would always say, I have a dad, the person that raised you. And I would just be like, but yeah, that's kind of like, that's not that nice. Because he's here, he's trying to be nice, he let us have cake and stuff like that. Like, he's a cool dude. Like, why would you not kind of give him that? And it seems like he's trying to be a good guy. And I even went as far as wanting to fix the thing. I just watched the IG about that. Men always want to fix it, because I couldn't understand it. I couldn't understand why you were so hurt. I'm like, you have an opportunity to make this better. Whatever strain there is in your relationship with him, that can be fixed. All right, don't worry, Kiyanna. I got it covered. So I decided to take it upon myself to go and have this secret meeting with him. And my attempt in that meeting was, I wanted him to just give you what you needed, just that resolution, conclusion, apologize for his part that he may have played in his absence, or the discomfort that you had back then, and then possibly everything will be perfectly fine. But instead, that's not how things went. And when he came back and he gave his side of the story, it ended up turning out to be more of a defense of everything rather than, I kind of advised him. I'm like, don't bring up none of the past. Just say you're sorry for your part. And he kind of gave his stance.
And he didn't listen to nothing you said.
He didn't listen to anything I said. I was like, no, this is not what I wanted you to do. And then after that meeting was over, when he met with all three of us and he talked about his part, you were so hurt by me doing that.
Let's roll it back. I kept blaming him, like, he gonna come to my house. I'm pregnant. I'm sensitive, my first child, and he gonna tell me that. And I felt like he bashed my mom because he felt so many years that she bashed him. And not one time did a sorry come out of his mouth. It was just, let me tell you how I recall what happened during the time me and your mother were seeing each other. And I didn't know that you had him come to our house. So I just thought, how dumb of him. How dumb of him to come to my house.
I shouldn't have said nothing. I should have.
Right. I kept saying, how dumb of him to come to my house to explain this stupid story to me. And that's when you said, he didn't just come on his own. I told him to come. I'm like, what? What'd you do that? And you was like, I thought it would be good for you guys to talk because you never. And I was like, you went behind my back? I already told you how he was. Oh my.
I thought I did a good thing.
No, you did it. I mean, you did. You tried.
I tried to do it. Because I know how I would have handled it.
Well, and that was the thing. I think me and you would bump heads a lot whenever we talked about it, because I kept trying to explain it to you. Like, imagine finding out your dad is not your dad. And you was like, I wouldn't care. And I'm like, that's you lying. You would care. Because you couldn't understand or rationalize what I went through as a child and the hurt that could come out of everybody lying to you. Everybody lying to you. Anyway.
Yeah.
But when I found out that you did it, I was pissed. I was so mad. And to be honest, I was so embarrassed for years. For years. Even in my adulthood, I was so embarrassed for me to have a different father than my brothers and sisters.
You were embarrassed.
I'm embarrassed.
Because, like, why? You thought it was your fault?
For one, it didn't look good. It just didn't. It didn't.
It made it look like you kind of messed up the family?
Yeah, like not
Why
that
you
I,
had to be the
not
one?
that I messed up the family, but imagine everybody knowing your daddy, and that people you grew up with, and then another man, because my mom would try to invite him to different things, and then they go, "Who is that?" And I'm like, That's my mom's friend. I was embarrassed. And then imagine you already got all your cousins. They don't know because you still got the same last name as them. Mm-hmm. And then you're wondering, well, who knows? Who didn't know? And so it's just like, if y'all kept it a secret for so long, let's keep it like that. Because I'm comfortable with my life. Y'all already got me living this lie. But as I get older, there's so many movies and there's so many other people coming out about it. And I didn't know this and I didn't know that. It's like,
yeah, so it kind of put the ball in your court too.
How common is dysfunction? How common?
Yeah.
And I think now I'm 37 years old. I've lived with this for a while, even explaining to my kids as, I try to continue a relationship with his family and they have a relationship with my daddy family. I'm just very honest with my kids. And when they ask me any questions like, well, Mommy, how did you grow up with this? And I make it plain. I explain to them on their level. And my oldest daughter, who's just can hold a grown folks conversation with me, she said, that must have hurt.
Oh, she's a little.
And I'm like, yeah. And why did they do that? And I make it plain. And to this day, I always tell my kids, Mommy don't lie, because I want them to believe me because I was lied to. So I think that plays a part in how
That's why you don't even like doing jokes.
It's not that I don't like doing jokes.
I like doing pranks. You don't like pranks.
It's just if my kids, when I say something, I want them to know it came from me. When they say, Mommy, is this true? And I tell them, no, it's not. They go, well, I believe Mommy over Daddy because Mommy don't play. Mommy tells us the truth all the time.
Gotcha.
But I do look at the fact that we have social media. We have so many tools and so many therapists that are open on these platforms that tell us how to deal with our trauma, which they did not have back then. So I understand these secrets that they buried. And I just look at the blessings of what came out of this. You would not have the Kiyanna that you have now if I didn't go through that.
Wow.
My kids would not have the mother that they have now if I didn't go through that. My family would not have the Kiyanna that they have now if I did not go through that. So I look at any, just like when it comes to my hair, and that perm set me back. It was a setup.
I want to actually go into that.
Really?
You've become like, I love to hear this story today. And today, I've heard versions of this story multiple times, but today was the one day I realized, wow, so much of the trauma that you endured, the Lord allowed it to be recycled and reproduced out of your life into good fruit. And so some of the things that I truly, truly admire and appreciate about you, and now I'm definitely not going to give you as much trouble with the children and them choosing and deciding and things like that, but the good things that I appreciate about you came from such a tough place. But I'm so grateful because a lot of times trauma poisons people and brings out the most destructive things in them, but it's brought out beautiful things in you. And so I want to kind of understand, like, I'm going to just be honest. Look, can I be straight up? Give me your hands and take just even looking at you across the table, like, you're so, so gorgeous, beautiful.
Thank you.
Inside and out. But it's almost like the woman that is sitting before me now, the mature version of you, is so much finer than the woman that I met 18 years ago. And so, like, I just want to know, how did you continue to blossom? How did you become this? Now you're a natural hair specialist. You're a skin guru. You're just all things beautiful. How did you get there?
I don't even know how I got here. I don't know how I got here, but because God took me through a lot of loops to have me arrive. But I do know that he had to strip me of everything that I had built up in order for him to build me how he wanted me to.
What do you mean by that?
So, you know, as you get older, you know, any black girl know, dark-skinned black girl, you got it. That's a rites of passage, I think. You got to get made fun of, you know, in order to go through, especially if you went to school with black kids.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. You have to go through being teased. I'm sorry, did I say black kids? Siblings. My siblings had to tease me first. I was a little chunky. But to be honest, my siblings never did tease me about my complexion.
Gotcha.
They teased me about my weight. I think we had to pick a battle. It was like, we ain't gonna do all of it, so we'll teach you about your weight. I was called fatso, I think.
Fatso.
Yeah, fatso. So my siblings never teased me about being dark. And to be honest, I didn't get teased that much about being dark-skinned, but it was pointed out to where I felt insecure about being dark-skinned. Like when people would see me and my siblings together and we would be at school or something, they'll go, why is she the darkest one? So to point something out like that, it's like, something must be wrong with me.
Yeah, because your older sister is...
Yeah, she lighter than all of us, so why would we make fun of her? No, we did. We called her Light-So. We did.
No, y'all didn't.
You're Fatso, Light-So.
No, you didn't. Oh, man.
Yeah. You know what, to be honest, my oldest brother, he was in charge of making fun of all of us. And he was the dorkiest looking one. So he was wise.
Why wasn't he dork-so?
Said, I don't know why he called us dork-so. He made fun of each and every one of us, and we jumped on that bandwagon, but we never turned around and talked about him too bad.
He's a genius.
He was a genius.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm a reminder. So anyway, just growing up, and then a few people in my family, they did mention about like, oh, Kiyanna, don't stay in the sun, you know, because you might get dark. And I was like, so it must not be a thing, you know, a good thing to be dark. So I had those little insecurities. And even when my sister had boys that liked her, they'd be like, oh, I got a little brother. What's your sister look like? And my sister would always pump me up like, my sister is beautiful. And it'd be like, she light skinned like you? And she'd be like, no, she's a pretty chocolate girl. And I admired that about my sister. Like, wow, my sister thinks I'm pretty. And I thought my sister was beautiful growing up. So that gave me a little, you know, God made sure that I had that, you know, on my shoulder a little bit, like, you cute. But still, I still didn't have it. So just coming into my own, you know, you get grown, you're able to buy makeup, get your hair done. So I did everything what anybody would do when you get a little bit of money. You start putting the lashes on, you get some foundation, you get your hair done, you get your weaves done. And then I just remember God telling me to stop. He said, stop wearing all of that. And I'm like, you want me to stop wearing all of this? Like, how's it offending you, God? Let me know. So I was very reluctant. And it came through a message through your dad. You've heard me talk about this a lot. I was very reluctant, and I remember the Holy Spirit speaking to me. He said, if this is not something that's holding you down, if this is nothing to you, then why can't you let it go? If this is nothing to you, why can't you let it go? And that kind of just pricked me, like, maybe in a sense of, oh, I'm gonna show you it's nothing. I'm gonna show you, okay? Because I kept saying it's nothing.
You the Holy Spirit like that?
Like in my head, now thinking back. But I was like, I could do this. So the next day, I went to work. I had to wear a scarf on my head because I didn't even know how to comb my hair because I was so used to getting it done. I had to wear a scarf on my head. Oh,
and y'all don't get it. Wait, I don't think you guys understand when.
I gotta take it back.
My wife says that she used to be tip top. She didn't step out. Look, she didn't wear the same hairstyle for more than a week.
No.
She changed her hairstyle every week. I said, this is excessive. This is too much. She was like, I gotta change it up. It's old now. I was like, it looks perfect. Yeah, but go ahead.
I have to step it back because I got a perm a year before.
I remember that.
2 years before that. Matter of fact, I got a perm several months before our wedding.
Yeah.
So I couldn't even wear my own hair for our wedding. So that's when I really got introduced to weaves like that, because I was like, oh, I don't gotta wear my own hair, you know, because we got these beautiful extensions that are out. So I was already, you know, trying to grow out my hair. So for God to say, cut out the weaves, I was like, well, what else you want me to do? Because you know, I used to feel comfortable wearing my hair, but I don't now because I just got a perm. So all these setbacks was a set up for my come up. I'm about to wrap. So I had to go to work with a scarf on my head. And when I tell you, I just looked so dry and tired. And God was kind of cleaning up the way that I dressed. I didn't want to wear anything that was revealing. It was really like just a fasting of not being me.
That was crazy. Of what you thought was you.
Yeah, what I thought. I was fasting from what I thought was me.
But I was a witness, and this time we were living together.
Yeah, we were married.
Yeah, we were married. So I was just like, man, she's taking this seriously. Like, the message been over. It's been. And
keep in mind, I was so used to getting my lashes done that when I took them bad boys off, it looked like I had leukemia.
No, and you used to get your eyebrows arched.
Oh my gosh. And I didn't even have much eyebrows. So I look sick.
Well, you know what? I will say this. So to a certain extent, I was used to you being made up. You were wearing weaves at the time, and I was liking everything that you were doing. I liked sometimes you showing a little skin here and there, and I was liking all of that. But when God moved on your heart to switch gears, I promise you, I was 1000% with you, because there was nothing more attractive to me than you saying yes to God like that. And God, the same God that graced and blocked my eyes from not being able to see you in the beginning and opening my eyes to seeing you the day I first saw you, you doing all that stuff, and you said people were making comments, you were still beautiful to me.
Thank you.
I didn't look at you as like, man, she's down. I didn't feel embarrassed going out with you. I didn't feel like you were a downgraded version of yourself. Maybe because I already knew this is like, you know, when you be kind of dressed down and you go out to Walmart, they be like, they have no idea because I could really put it on. Like, that was kind of my mind. I was like, when she if she wants to put something on, she could put it on and she could look as good as she wants to look. But if she wants to kind of cover it up, then this is just going to Walmart for right now.
Right.
So not like that. I'm like, but if you want to cover up and if you wanted to, you know, not show that much, I didn't feel like you were a downgraded version of yourself.
Thank you. I remember asking you, like, how do I look? And you tell me, you look beautiful.
Yeah.
And that was really the encouragement that I needed. Like, you look beautiful. And I kept on. I did it for some months. And then I did it for a year. Then the next thing you know, I was doing it for another year. And
how were people responding around you? Because you weren't even wearing earrings.
No, I didn't even wear jewelry. I remember... like when I would get ready, or if I would go out with like a friend to a church event, they were like, are you ready? And I'm like, yeah, I'm ready. And
that's cold. That's one of the worst things people could say to you when you're fully dressed.
Yeah.
Like, when you gonna get ready? Are you wearing that?
Yeah. You ready? I'm like, yeah, I'm ready. And they'd be like, oh, okay, all right. So they got used to it, because my standards was I can't go back, because I knew God was doing something to me on the inside. And I remember wanting to give up, because it was just like, this is too much. And at that time, me and you was having like marital problems as well. And I'm like, oh, forget it. It ain't even worth all of this. Let me do what I know makes me happy. And that's going to get my hair done, going to get a weave done. Just being who I thought was me. But God told me it was something bigger on the other side. And I'm so glad that I listened, because that's where I was able to start my hair business. That's where I was able to take care of my skin. That's when I didn't know that I was going to have 3 daughters that was gonna need someone to look up to. So it was so important for God to set those standards for me back then so that I can be who I am now today. And I'm still, becoming this person because every day he's showing me something new. Every day he's showing me, a new way to do this and to do that. And you can't get me to talk about anybody's beauty to say, oh, they not cute, because I just look at them like, dang. At first, back in the day when I was the old Kiyanna, I used to be like, if she would just arch her eyebrows and, put a little foundation on, she would look better. Now I'm literally stripping it off like, she don't need all of that. If she would just wear her natural hair, she would look so much better. So I'm grateful. I have no complaints.
Let me ask you this. What are a couple things outside? I see you recognize people's beauty. Everybody's beautiful to you now. What are some other things that you think have added value that has been added to you now that you have this new perspective?
Wisdom. I understand the process and staying consistent with something because I look at my hair journey and I'm like, wow, I remember when my hair was not this long and me thinking that God had just gifted certain people or certain cultures to have long hair, not knowing that we all could achieve this.
Wow. And
how much the Bible talks about our natural beauty and how God wants us to see it.
So what do you think had to die in you for you to actually to walk into that and see it like that?
What had to die
in me?
My flesh. My flesh had to die because I adopted the world standards. I adopted everything that media gave us and that TV was giving us and social media was giving us to say, this is the standard look of beauty. And when you do not grow with yourself, you will stay at your little spot. So if I did not know that if I would have continued wearing weaves, I would have had no reason to grow out my hair. If I'd have continued wearing makeup so heavy like I did, and I wasn't even really heavy with it, but it wasn't helping. If I said that, I would have never learned about my natural skin. I wouldn't have learned about breakouts and looked at foods that make me break out and when I eat something, because I would always have something to cover it up.
Let me ask you this. So it looks like you're wearing lashes right now. Are you against women wearing makeup? Are you against women wearing weaves? Like, what is the benefit of doing it your way when you could actually go a different way and come up with these same beautiful results?
I think anything that you are tied down to that you can't give up is an idol in your life. For me, it was that look. For me, it was the weave. For me, it was the eyelashes. For me, it was the makeup. For somebody else, it could be TV. They feel they got to watch TV 24/7. For somebody else, it could be working out. You feel like you got to work out. For somebody else, it could be friends. If you feel you cannot do without it, then it is definitely an idol in your life. And God wants you to see that all you need is him. So at this point in my life, I could put it on when I want to, and I'm very comfortable.
Not even comfortable. You too comfortable.
I'm very comfortable without it.
Yeah.
And I love it.
The beautiful thing about it that I learned from you, I actually learned this from you, is that you taking care of your skin, whether when you're not wearing makeup, you taking care of your skin. When you actually do wear the makeup look better when you wear it.
Yes.
And I think you kind of brought the idea back to me, into my understanding that like all this stuff comes as a supplement. Like you got this wig, it's a supplement. You got this you got this makeup, it's a supplement. But sometimes when you rely on the supplement so much, you forget that you gotta actually take care of the real stuff. So at the time when you were wearing those weaves, you actually wasn't even bothering.
I didn't care about
You was
my
letting
hair.
that thing rock.
Right. And I never even got so many compliments on my skin now. Like, I've always had this skin.
So you're saying you wasn't born running around and everybody talking about your glowing skin?
No, I mean, I had my grandma neighbor Bertha who used to go, oh, you such a pretty.
Bertha, for real?
Bertha was her name. She said, you just a pretty little doll. That's what she always used to say, Bertha. She long gone. But Bertha used to always tell me, you are such a doll. You a pretty little doll.
So she was the only one? You didn't get that all the time?
Not really. But now, and I will say that society has uplifted dark-skinned women a lot, and I appreciate that. But still, I never got so many compliments on, oh, what you use on your skin? Or, I mean, everywhere I go, at my kids' school, people are asking me, what do you put on your skin? And I'm like, I'm thinking it's so common because I've been doing it for so long now, and it's without no makeup. It's without any makeup.
Wow.
People are telling me.
It's without the makeup that they're telling
me my skin is so beautiful. Or, oh, your hair is so nice. Is this all your hair? And I'm like, yeah.
Interesting.
And they, oh, what you mix with? That's the next question when you
I learned a pattern in your life.
What?
God keeps on using all these disastrous stuff.
Uh-oh, what's coming next?
I'm just saying, to bring the best and the most beautiful things out of you.
Isn't that just like God, though? I'm sure if you was to think about your life, it's through your troubles that you're able to have your triumph. And that's what he did on the cross. I mean, if we really make it simple, it's from him going through all of that for us to be with him in glory. Yeah. So I think any trouble that someone goes through, they definitely have to look on the other side and say, I'm gonna make it out of this and I'm gonna be better than I was before.
I love that. So I'll be honest, when I first met you, I kind of thought it's because you were born like this, that's how you're able to achieve this. But now I know all of this. How do you think you're positioned to help other women? I know how you're positioned to help my kids, but do you feel like it's your calling to now instill what's been put into you into other women?
Definitely. When I first started teaching people how to grow out their natural hair, it was only because I wanted to show people it's possible. And being married to you and seeing so many African children, Nigerians and Ghanaians, those are people you kind of ran with a lot. Seeing them like, that baby ain't gotta look like that. That woman ain't gotta look like that.
I just want to mention something else. We went to this Ghana church, and like all the girls under age 4 were wearing full-on 43-year-old wigs.
I don't know, it was 43-year-old wigs.
Straight up.
When I saw that, I said, oh, God, this is why you did this. This is why you had me marry this man. This is why you had me lose my hair in that perm.
Testify about how you helped my sister.
Oh, yes. Your oldest sister.
My oldest sister, like on my dad's side,
Yeah.
so they're like born in Nigeria, raised in Nigeria.
There go that dad's side again. See, everybody had it.
Yeah.
But no, I remember her coming up to me and saying, Kiyanna, I want you to help me with my daughter's hair. She just wanted me to comb it because she said growing up in Nigeria in the village, she never had to do anything with hair, because they cut off her hair as a young child and she wasn't able to grow her hair out until she went to college. So, in the Black community, we practicing in hair, when we 5 and 6 playing in dolls, and then we doing our siblings
Not
and
in
our
my
cousin
family.
hair. We always playing in hair. So it's almost like knowing how to comb hair is gradual. As you get older, you know how to do a ponytail, you know how to do a braid, then you learn how to French braid on the scalp. So anyway, she always used to say, I just want her hair to be soft. I just want her to be soft. And I'm like, it can be if we just moisturize it, because it's just like, anything. If the air is hitting it, it's gonna dry it out. Lo and behold, I started doing what I did to my own, and baby girl hair grew. She was even surprised. So at that time, I was just helping people for free, in which I still will help anybody in my family for free. But God was like, you can do this as a business. And through you were really showing me like, Naja, we make money. We gonna make money out of this. Stop just telling everybody.
I definitely saw it in you, and I also saw how much people wanted to hear from you. I think beyond the fact that you're able to grow your hair and all of that stuff, I think you have a favor on your life and a grace. I think you have a favor on your life and a grace to help and to speak to women. Women want to hear you. You could literally say, You say, I'm going to do something for hair and skin. Sign up. 1,000 people sign up.
It's a
It's
blessing.
crazy. We go to South Africa. People
blessing.
there, you could do classes and people are running to the classes. So it's amazing. So your voice is necessary. Your voice needs to be heard. What inspires me the most about what you do is your plan and vision to help young girls.
Yeah. It
That
always
to
goes
me
back to
is
that.
huge.
Yeah, because I definitely think you got to get them where they're young, where they're still being molded. And I know if I would have had me back then, oh my gosh, I got me now, but I can only imagine if I had someone telling me I'm beautiful, showing me that I don't need anything fake, that everything I got is right here inside of me, that what God sees, he's already gifted and put inside of me. And you appreciate something a lot more when you have actually grown up. That's why older people are so proud of their gardens, because they've taken the time, take up the roots, turn the soil, making sure the sun hits it the right way, making sure that the bugs leave it alone, because they've actually grown it and they can enjoy it. So I think that's the same way when it comes to our natural God-given beauty. I can appreciate it a lot more because I've taken the time to grow it, making sure the sun hits it the right way, making sure that the soil
Come on. That
So,
reminds me of the word stewardship. And I always say this, every good gift that God gives, he expects stewardship in return.
Amen.
So if he gives you his beauty, this beauty or this hair, whatever it is, he expects you to steward it. And steward just means to invest in it, to protect it, to pay attention to it. And what it's also saying, another word for stewardship, I think, is honor. Because when we take care of what God gives, it's another way of saying, I honor what you gave.
Yeah.
And the only reason why we're honoring what he gave is because if he gave it, then in his eyes, in his perspective, it's good. When we dishonor it, then we're dishonoring what he says is good. So imagine that God is seeing all these beautiful young women and they're dishonoring by disregarding and neglecting things that he's called good. He's just like, oh, so you didn't like what I gave you? Imagine I gave you a gift, you kick it to the corner, it's just growing dust and things. It's like, no, I need you to pay attention to it, invest in it, and protect it, and treat it like I gave it to you. I gave it to you. It's
That's so
precious.
funny.
Treat it like it's precious.
Because I tell our oldest daughter all the time when she asks me for Takis, I recently banned her from Takis, and she go, why? I say, because you can't mess up my face. And I'm talking about her face. I say, and she go, this is my face. I said, but I gave it to you. I gave it to you. It's a beautiful face. I don't want you messing up my face. And Takis are gonna mess up your face. So it's the same, we do the same thing with our kids.
So imagine God saying, that's mine.
Yeah,
Woo!
yeah.
That's mine. Yeah, I love it. I love you. This is
Thanks.
inspiring.
I
I
love you
want to
too.
subscribe.
Oh, you want to join my
Yeah,
program?
I want to
What
see
you
if I
want
can
to
grow
grow
some
out?
locks.
Okay, well, it is. So the program is getting ready to start. Well, it's probably starting very, very, very soon.
Okay.
But it's a 90-day natural boot camp
Okay.
where we're not just learning about our beauty, but learn how to take care of ourselves inwardly, so that way our outward beauty will shine.
Okay.
Yeah,
Shine.
and it has a lot of mental to go along with it, because you can have all this knowledge, but if you don't know how to handle it, then you still don't get anything from it.
I love it. I love
Thank
it.
you.
No, thank you. I appreciate this.
Thank you for having me.
Oh,
Cheers.
what you mean? You had me.